pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to another Beta Alpha Psi meeting. Today we have Kayleigh Donnellan from PKF O'Connor Davies come and speak to us today. Again, if you're on Zoom, please turn your cameras on if possible. And please unmute when you have a question. Let's make this interactive session. With that being said, Kayleigh, I'll let you take it away.
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. I am Kayleigh. I am one of the campus recruiters here at PKF O'Connor Davies. I definitely appreciate you all taking the time out of your day to come on and listen to me speak a little bit about the firm and hopefully give you guys some tips and tricks on some interview and some soft skills. So really my goal for today is just kind of to share a little bit of information about the firm. And then because I am a recruiter, I go through and I screen a lot of our candidates for all of our internships and entry levels for all of our Connecticut offices, our New Jersey offices, as well as our Maryland offices. I figured I could also give you some good information regarding interviews because I'm sure all of you are going to be looking for internships or full-time opportunities at some point. So I know we're a little bit kind of some on Zoom, some in person. If we have any freshmen here, could you raise your hand just so I know kind of the levels of everybody here on the call today? All right, any sophomores? Okay. Any juniors? Okay, seniors? Okay. Any master's students here? Okay, amazing. Okay, so got a good array across the board. So I'm sure many of you are going to be going through those interviews either for internships if you're in your sophomore year, and also if you're in your master's year, going for those full-time interviews as well. So I do have a presentation that I can share with you today, which will give you a little bit of some nice graphics to look at while we're going through the presentation. Let me pull this up for you. Okay, perfect. Let me make sure I can see all of you as well, just in case we have any questions. So I know I'm going to be going through and I'm going to be speaking a lot, but if you have any and all questions at any time, please feel free to unmute yourself, raise your hand. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions while we go through our presentation today. Okay, all right, now I've got it so I can see all of you as well as the Zoom link too. Okay, perfect. All right, so pretty much what I thought that we would go through today, and I may or may not take the full hour, so obviously we'll have plenty of times at the end if you guys have any questions or want any more kind of tips or tricks, interview skills, resume prep, things along that nature. That is my expertise and my role here at the firm. So first up, I figured we'd kind of give you a little information about the firm, talk about our clients, our culture, and also if you guys are interested, how you could potentially join PKF O'Connor Davies. And then we'll kind of finish up the presentation with going through what an interview process looks like, some tips and tricks, talking a little bit about some behavioral interview questions, letting you know kind of what this is, what questions look like, how you should be answering them in your interviews, and then also talking about soft skills and how you guys can grow your soft skills over the course of your education at Fairleigh Dickinson. So to start off, talking a little bit about PKF O'Connor Davies. Now, before we jump into this, who here has heard about PKF O'Connor Davies in the past, or is this your first time hearing about us? Okay, so one hand. So other than that, this is a first little intro to the rest of you about who we are. So we are a mid-size public accounting firm. We pretty much were founded back in 1891, so we have been around for quite a while. I think we are actually one of the oldest accounting firms in the U.S. Right now, we have about 21 different offices, which are mostly in the northeastern region of the U.S. So we're really mainly located across 7 main states, which is going to be New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Maryland, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Florida, the Sunshine State as well. We do have some offices over in India, which kind of add to our international presence. As a firm, we typically have about 1,500 staff right now with about 200 different partners. So coming in right at that mid-size mark for the accounting firms. Now, I also want to bring to your attention on this slide the last bullet point, which is PKF O'Connor Davies, no greater value. This is our slogan. So pretty much delivering greater value to our clients has always been and always will continue to be our highest priority. So you will see this quite a lot within the firm, on our LinkedIn, on a lot of our promotional things, as well as if you do join us for an internship or full-time, you'll hear this quite a lot within your office and every day here at the firm. So definitely no greater value than working with PKF O'Connor Davies, or no greater working for PKF O'Connor Davies. We definitely see our employees as our most valuable assets and want to make sure that they are where they want to be within their career. So additionally, down at the bottom, you'll see that we do have a little bit of an international presence. So we do have, within PKF O'Connor Davies specifically, 3 offices that are located over in India. However, we are also a part of an international network. This is actually where PKF comes from in our name. We are actually part of a network that has about 440 different firms across 150 different countries. And this international network really allows us to kind of utilize our international resources during our busy season, as well as it allows us to kind of send some help to our other PKF member firms during their busy season as well. This is called our secondment program. So I'm not sure if any of you have ever studied abroad during your college career, or wish you had. So this is kind of studying abroad, but while you're working full time. We've recently had some individuals come over from PKF Durban down in South Africa, as well as PKF Goldsmith and Fox over in New Zealand, as well as we have somebody come over from Germany as well to kind of work in our New York City office for about 3 months. And then we have also sent over some of our staff to New Zealand, Australia as well, to kind of have them help some other member firms. So it's really nice kind of getting to explore, getting to learn new things, learn how the audit processes different from country to country. So just another great experience to have kind of when working here at the firm. So pretty much since we were founded back in the 1800s, we have always maintained our commitment to developing a really thorough understanding of all of our client operations, their financial histories, in order to make sure that we are providing equally thorough care in meeting their every challenge and objective. This goes back to the no greater value. We want to make sure that we are going above and beyond for our clients, as well as going above and beyond for our employees too. We definitely are a people first firm. Our mission, on top of working with our clients, is also to make sure that we are providing successful opportunities to our employees, and want to make sure that they are getting as much learning opportunities as possible within their role here at the firm. So next up, this is our brag slide, which I am going to right off the bat call your attention to the #1 bullet point. It actually was just released today by the Vault, but we are very proud of this. PKF O'Connor Davies has been ranked the #1 accounting internship across the board back in 2024 and again for 2025. I think the announcement literally came out a couple of hours ago. This really kind of shows how amazing the teams are within the firm, and just the amount of hands-on experience and knowledge that you get throughout an internship with us is really so valuable. So very proud of that there. Wanted to throw that on that for you today, since it just came out. Not only are we ranked very highly among the accounting internships, we were ranked the #1 accounting internship across all industries, so even outside the accounting industries as well. We also are very highly ranked among the Accounting Today's top 100 firms. We were ranked number 25. We have been ranked number 10 for the accounting firm in general for the Vault Accounting Top 25 Firms back in 2024. And we have been ranked #1 for promotion policies, #2 for internal mobility, #3 for work-life balance, as well as #1 for overall diversity. We also have been ranked some of the best places to work in Westchester, New York City, New Jersey, and as well, we're very happy to say, and I didn't throw it on here, we were just ranked the best place to work in Western Connecticut as well. So looking to get Massachusetts on there next, but we've definitely succeeded in getting Connecticut on there over the last couple of weeks. So very proud, very highly ranked firm, and I think I can definitely attest to working here. Those accolades definitely kind of show a little insight into who we are as a firm. So now talking about our service line and what we do for our clients. So we're a CPA firm, so we work with a lot of external clients. And we actually provide services in 4 main service lines. This is going to be accounting and assurance, which is our audit division, our tax compliance and planning, which is our tax division, our family office service section, which is working with very high net worth individuals and their family offices, as well as we do also have our business advisory solutions section, which is our advisory team. So kind of in each one of these different service lines, we work with clients really across the board in multiple different industries. And right here is a very long and comprehensive list of all of the different industries that our clients fall out into. So not only are you getting a lot of experience kind of in tax, audit, advisory, or family office services, you also really do get to kind of explore all of these different industries as well within an internship or a full-time opportunity with us. So just to name a few, we work with construction companies, financial institutions, healthcare, government, non-for-profits, as well as a very new and kind of growing industry is our cannabis industry as well. So these are just one of the many different industries that you could potentially work here at the firm. So talking a little bit about the firm and service lines, I also kind of have to share with you a little bit about why PKF O'Connor Davies might be the right fit for you. At the end of the day, all of you are going to have a right fit, just as how you were finding a right fit for which college you were going to attend when you were figuring out what major do I want to do, where do I want to go, do I want to stay close to home, do I want to go really far away, do I want a really large college or really small college. That's going to be the same thing for the firms that you're looking at for full-time opportunities or for internships. So hopefully this will give you a little bit of an insight into maybe why PKF O'Connor Davies might be the right fit for you. So I'd like to say that we are a people-first firm. Really kind of our main goal is to, one, make sure our clients are happy and we're providing the best service possible, but we also want to make sure our employees are happy. And this is where we really put in a lot of policies in place to make sure that our employees, where they are where they want to be within their career, and also have that work-life balance, because work should not be your number one priority. Your family, your friends, having that balance is going to be your priority when you're going into that full-time position. So you want to make sure that you're able to balance the two. And we have a lot of different policies in place to make sure that you can. We also have a lot of flexibility with us being a mid-sized firm. There's a lot of flexibility in being able to kind of move around the firm into different departments, different industries, if you are not where you want to be. You might come in working as an audit associate, working specifically in the nonprofit sector. After a couple of months to maybe a couple of years, you kind of notice, you know what, this might not be exactly where I want to be. I actually think tax might be the best choice for me. We've had individuals switch from audit to tax. We've also had individuals that stay in audit and think it's still a good place for them, but they actually might want to start working on maybe a government client. They find that a little bit more challenging. They're a little bit more interested in that client versus a non-for-profit client. So really at the end of the day, it's where you want to be, and we are very happy to kind of be flexible with that. Even in office location, you never know where life might take you. You might be looking to move up to Massachusetts, to New York City, down to Bethesda, Maryland, or even down to Florida if you don't like the cold. So we definitely are very flexible with moving offices to allow you to kind of be where is right for you and right for your family. I did mention before, we are kind of mainly based in the Northeast, but that might change. We have grown significantly over the last 7 years. We've doubled in size, so I just kind of see us expanding even more in the future, as well as we do have that international reach with not only our own offices, but then our PKF International Network as well. Even with that international reach and how quickly we have grown, we really do put an emphasis on our mid-sized field, because you are really going to get to know everybody that is in the office that you're working in. The partners are going to get to know you. You really are going to create kind of like a family-friendly type environment when you're in the office, which is really important. And you really want to make sure that you're enjoying the people that you work with and that you know the people that you work with within your offices. This kind of goes hand in hand with our open door policy. So I think culture and these policies really start at the top and then work their way down. So starting with the managing partner, the executive committee, the other partners, and then kind of trickling down to the managers, the supervisors, seniors, as well as the associates and interns. And this kind of starts with our open door policy. All of our partners, you will never see a door shut unless it's a confidential meeting. They really do encourage everybody at all levels to come to them with any questions, concerns, new ideas. Our partners really understand that the interns and the entry levels that are coming in are going to be the partners that are running the firm in 10, 15, 20 years. They want to make sure that they're sharing their expertise and their knowledge with you. so that you can continue on the legacy of the firm. So with that, you can work with many different partners across many different industries, so you do get a lot of exposure across the board. So that's just a little bit about what makes our firm a little bit different. In addition to that, we got to talk about the perks. Who doesn't love some perks when you're looking at full-time opportunities? We do have a dress for your day policy. So this is kind of depending on what your schedule looks like for the day. If you are just coming into the office, you are more than welcome to wear business casual. You don't have to come in a full suit and tie. The only expectation or exception to that is if you are going to a client, that's just when you would have to dress business professional. But any other time, you are more than welcome to wear business casual to the office. Another one right underneath that is our summer and December Fridays. Now, I'm sure all of you have heard about paid time off. That's always something that's very important to take those mental breaks. We actually had someone write into our How's It Going survey, which you can also see written up here as well. And they had an idea that over the summertime, it's really nice outside. You want to spend some additional time with your friends and your family. So they had the great idea of compressing your work week down to 4 days. And this actually, the executive committee took a look at this. They did some research on it, and they found that they thought that it was a very good idea for the firm. And now it's been implemented as our Summer Fridays policy. So this is where between Memorial Day and Labor Day, our staff are able to compress their work weeks down to 4 days as long as they're hitting their hours and their client deliverables. Between Monday and Thursday, they don't have to log on Friday, and they also don't have to use their PTO so that they can save that for a vacation or another time that they want to use their paid time off for. So it helps that kind of work-life balance over the summertime. Additionally, this is very similar for our December Fridays. It's not the full Friday, but it is a half a day on Friday. They figured it's right before that traditional busy season hits in, and it's also a lot of holidays happen in December, a lot of family time. So they figured, you know what, it's a little bit slower work-wise, but obviously very busy personally. Let's try to give a half day on Friday for our staff as well. We also have many of our employee resource groups. I think now we have about 13 to 15 different employee resource groups. This is done through our DE&I initiatives, and they really encourage everyone to get involved in these. Even if you're just coming in for a few months as an intern, you are able to get involved in any ERG throughout the firm, as well as our community service initiatives. Additionally, a lot of our internships do run during busy season. So traditionally within the public accounting route, you've always heard that there is that traditional busy season where you might have some more deadlines come up, some higher working hours. So we always try to do the best for our employees in trying to break up that day, kind of have some fun activities, some de-stressing activities as well. So we'll do a lot of food in the office because you can't ever really be upset on a full stomach, as well as I believe our Shelton office has done some like guided meditation during that time, snacks, we think we do cornhole in the Woodcliff Lake office. So there's a lot of different activities to break up the day to try to help that, again, balance and de-stress yourself during that busy time. Another thing I wanted to touch on here is our professional development and leadership. Coming in at the entry level and the intern level, you are going to be looking to expand your knowledge and learn and grow. And the way that PKF O'Connor Davies helps you do this is by providing you with a career advisor. So this is someone who is a mentor to you, and they follow you throughout your career. They help you make short-term goals, long-term goals. They help just kind of mentor you through it and give you advice, help answer any questions that you have throughout your career here at the firm. You get a lot of formal and on-the-job training. We have an amazing learning and development team that really sets up training at every single level that you're at throughout the firm, because they don't look at it as just you need training when you first start off. You need training when you're a manager, a director, and even a partner. There's always new things that you need to learn and grow in. So they have those amazing trainings set up for our employees. As well as we've spoken about it multiple times, exposure to a lot of different departments and flexibility as well. I'm sure all of you, who here is planning on hopefully getting their CPA exam at some point, or CPA license? All right, amazing. I see a lot of hands. So this is definitely something that all of you should talk to your or any company that you are interviewing with, whether you're at the intern level or full-time level. It's something you should ask about their CPA perks, because a lot of firms will help you get to that achievement financially and kind of being that support system behind you. So the way that we support our employees is providing them with, we actually partner with 3 different review programs. Becker, Roger U. World, and Surgeon, and we provide these at no cost to our employees. We do reimburse for exam fees, as well as they do receive a passing bonus once they pass the CPA exam, as well as once you do have your CPA license, there's a certain amount of required continuing professional education credits that you have to get every single year. And our firm and our L&D team kind of host those for you so that you don't have to go outside of the firm and pay for those CPE credits. The firm actually will provide those to you, as well as if you are looking to go back for your master's, maybe if you are still finishing up your 150 credits, the firm does have a fantastic tuition reimbursement program that we actually just updated. So it used to be you have to wait a year in order to be eligible for this, but now you do have access to it once you have come on board as a full-time staff with us. So those are just some ways that we help with the CPA exam as well as getting to that 150 credits. I think that hopefully this is something that you guys will make sure that you're asking in your interviews going forward, is to talk about those CPA perks, but that's just a little bit about what we do. So now that you've heard about the perks, I want to kind of give you an inside look into who we are as a firm and just some fun activities that we've done with some of our different offices and different employees. So we always like to kind of do some fun activities and outings. So here you can see that we have had our team go to Topgolf. Our New England firms got a chance to go to Gillette Stadium and get a tour and do some work out of there. They've done some barbecues. We have had our internal, so like HR, IT, marketing outing. We've did a bowling outing. We've gone to the Mets, Yankees game, Red Sox game. So there's just a lot of fun activities that people enjoy kind of going to even outside of the work day. So we don't ever like to leave our interns and associates out of the loop, so we do have some great events for these guys as well. Our interns, we do an intern appreciation day just because they provide us with so much support over the summer and winter time. We want to say a little thank you to them. So we've gone bowling, gone to the Yankees game, as well as we do some community service initiatives with them over the summertime. For our associates, we do an entry-level welcome dinner. Ours is actually for 2024 going to be in about 2 weeks from now, where all of our entry levels for 2024 and all of our partners and executive committees and managing partners get to come together in the Westchester area and have a networking night, and also a delicious dinner, I might add, at the Westchester Country Club. So it's really a great time to really get your name out there to all of the partners across all of the offices. So I mentioned before that we do an intern day of service. So these are just some pictures of us getting outside, out from behind the computer, and being able to give back to our community as well. Even outside of just our interns, our firm in general, community service is very near and dear to the firm's heart. So they do always love to find different ways that they can give back. So these are just some other activities that we've done throughout all of our offices, Feeding Westchester, Habitat for Humanity, as well as working with some of the community gardens all across the Northeast or wherever our offices are located out of. And who can say no to some fun activities around the office? We pretty much, any holiday that comes up, we find a way of celebrating it. We've got a Thanksgiving celebration, Pride breakfast. During the holidays, we do cubicle decorating. And then we've got a trunk or treat that should be coming up in the next week for all of our employees' kids, and some different holiday celebrations as well. So one celebration that we make sure to do every single year is a promotion day celebration, because we really want to acknowledge our employees who have done such an amazing job and who've gotten promoted within the last year. So we do a giant celebration across all offices just to say congratulations and really acknowledge their hard work. So that is just a little bit about kind of life at PKF O'Connor Davies. So if any of you are currently looking to potentially for an internship or for full-time, or even at the freshman and sophomore level, we do have some opportunities for you as well. This is pretty much what we look for within our candidates. We want to see affiliations with accounting societies and Beta Alpha Psi, which you guys are already ahead of the game with the fact that this is Beta Alpha Psi. We want to see relevant internship experience, your strong academic background, as well as any extracurricular activities, community service, athletics, volunteer work, part-time work. That is all something that you should be putting on your resume so that the recruiters can see this and see who you are as a person. Next up, for some available opportunities for 2025. So I did mention that we do have some opportunities for some freshmen and sophomores. So you can see those listed underneath our summer programs. Our Freshman Pathways program is a one-day virtual event meant to give freshmen kind of a little intro into what public accounting looks like and the different routes that you can take. You could go into auditing, you can go into cybersecurity, you can go into transaction advisory, investment banking, tax work, wealth planning, trust and estate work. So there's many different routes that you can take. So this program definitely kind of helps you see all the different routes, and you might find one that might be a little bit, might pique your interest a little bit. Next up, we do have our Leaders of Tomorrow program. This program is geared towards sophomores and potentially juniors. This program is really meant to be a pipeline into our internship program. Pretty much for our internships, we do have a requirement that you do be in your junior year or above. So you do need to, so our sophomores don't yet quite yet qualify for our internships. But we didn't want to lose out on meeting these incredible sophomores. So we created a Leaders of Tomorrow program. It's a program where you get to come into our home offices. So we're hosting it in Woburn, Massachusetts, Shelton, Connecticut, Harrison over in Westchester, and New York City, and then our Wycliffe Lake office. You get a chance to come into the office, network with individuals, and also put yourself in the running for the following year's internships. We do hire the majority of our interns from this program, so it's a great way to kind of get yourself out there and get your name out there and us to get to know you over the course of the day versus just a 30-minute interview. And then if anyone is currently a junior and looking for internships, we do still have 1 or 2 internships open right now that we are still actively recruiting for, which is our winter tax internship in our Wycliffe Lake office. So if you guys have any questions about those, I will, at the end of the presentation, give you a QR code where you can scan and you'll find our job board right on there. Or you can also ask me any questions and I'm more than happy to answer them. But obviously, going into an internship or full-time, you're going to have to sit through an interview, and sometimes these can be very intimidating and very scary. So I wanted to hopefully give you guys some tips and tricks to kind of ace those interviews, and also just to kind of help you prepare for them so that you feel a little bit more confident going into that interview. So first off, I wanted to start off with kind of explaining what the interview process looks like and the steps prior to the interview and after the interview. So when you are all going and applying for an internship or a full-time job and going through the interview process, this is what the process is going to look like. You're first going to either meet a professional or a recruiter at a career event. You're then going to submit a formal application. Then you're pretty much going to get reached out to schedule a first-round interview or a screen. And then pretty much after that first round, you'll be potentially sent over for a second-round interview with the hiring manager. Then pretty much after that second round interview, you're either going to receive an offer or not for that internship or associate role. So to break each of these steps down a little bit more, I wanted to first talk about before, during, and after kind of that interview. So right now I wanted to talk about beforehand. So even before you meet the recruiter or before you are going to the career fairs or kind of any networking opportunity, you want to make sure that you are refining your resume with your career center. This career center is so unbelievably helpful. They can give you some feedback on your resume, kind of tweak it a little bit, just give you some tips and tricks of what might kind of enhance your resume and make it stand out to a recruiter. Additionally, your career centers know all of the employers that are coming to this event, so they can sometimes give you some tips or some little tricks to kind of, maybe you should bring this up with this employer, or maybe you should bring this up with this employer. They really know all of the employers and all of the recruiters that come to your school, so they can give you some inside knowledge on that. So I would definitely encourage you to reach out to them and utilize them for that information. Next up, once you kind of have a list of who is going to be coming to the career fair, you want to do some research on the companies, because typically a career fair, you're only going to have maybe about 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours, depending on the career fair, to really get to chat with everybody that's at that fair. You want to make sure that you're able to prioritize your time to talk with the companies that are most in line with what you're looking for. So this always helps with kind of doing that research ahead of time and setting who you want to talk to in which order. Your number one priority should be the first person you go up to at a career fair so that you've got the most amount of time with them. And then you kind of go down your list from there. You also want to make sure that not only have you had your career center check over your resume, but that it's the most up to date. So I would always suggest updating your resume once a semester. You are going to have different classes, new experiences, new extracurriculars that you do each semester, and you want to make sure that your resume is reflecting that. So definitely make sure that you are including anything new that you have done over the last semester and getting that on your resume, making sure it's as up to date as possible. Next, who here has heard about an elevator pitch before, or is this the first time we're hearing about it? Okay, I see some hands raised. So an elevator pitch is a 30-second to 2-minute pitch about yourself, about who you are, what you're looking for, and what you've done in the past. So I would always suggest before going to a career fair, you want to kind of either create an elevator pitch or kind of memorize one for yourself. This is pretty much just introducing who you are to the professional. Typically, the recruiter will take it from there and ask you questions and kind of lead the conversation. But it's always something that really stands out to me is when someone comes up to me saying, "Hi, I'm so-and-so. This is what I'm currently doing here at Bailey Dickinson, and this is what I'm looking for." Because then I can tailor the conversation to that person and what they're looking for and give them some relevant information that they might be looking for. Next up is also dressing to impress. So I would say to definitely pay attention to the dress code for the event. Typically, a full suit is not necessary for a lot of the career fairs. I would say business casual typically suffices. So I would just always take a look, because if it does say business professional, you want to make sure you're dressed like that. But if not, business casual is always a safe way to go. But it never hurts to be overdressed if you're not entirely sure. Next up, after the event, after you've met this individual and gotten a chance to speak with them and get your name out there, you want to make sure that you're following up with that professional that you meet even after the fair. So typically you can ask additional questions, you can send them an email, you can say, "Thank you so much for providing me with this information," just something to close the loop with that recruiter. So now that you've met that individual at the campus career fair and you have either given them their resume, you've spoken to them, gotten a little bit more information from that recruiter, and gotten any questions that you had answered. Even though you might have given a resume at the career fair, that does not mean that you have formally applied to the role. And this I really want to stress, because sometimes this is a common misconception that, okay, I've given in my resume, I'm now in the running for this role or this internship or full-time opportunity. This is not the case. You want to make sure that you are either following up with that recruiter asking, where can I formally apply, or do I need to email you my resume? Just making sure that you have a formal application on file with that company. You want to make sure that you are doing so in a timely manner. So I would definitely suggest, if you've just seen them yesterday at the career fair, either that night or the next day, going on and submitting that formal application. Additionally, you want to make sure that you are going through the career page and finding the internship that most matches with what you're looking for and applying to that one single position. You don't want to go on and apply to 10 different positions across multiple different offices, multiple different fields, because we're not sure which one you're really looking for. So we want you to really take a look and narrow it down to, you know what, this office location works the best for me. I'm really interested in this audit internship. Tax, I'm kind of interested in, but I really want to focus on that audit role. And I want you to apply specifically to that internship or full-time opportunity and submit one application at a time. I think it's just a little bit more efficient on your end, as well as it does help the recruiter narrow down what you're really looking for. Additionally, when you do submit your application, you want to make sure that you are submitting anything that they have asked for. So certain companies will ask for a cover letter and resume. Certain companies will only ask for a resume. I would suggest only providing what they have asked. You never want to give too much information and have that additional information hurt you in any way. Sometimes I have seen people attach a transcript to their application. That's not something that's needed. If you got a bad grade on one class because you had a really tough semester, you might not want the recruiter seeing that. So I would only suggest submitting what is asked of you or what's required for that application. So anything else I would leave off, and the recruiter will always ask if they need additional information from you. So I would just stick to what they ask officially on the application. So now you've submitted your application, the recruiter's gone through it, and they have requested for you to schedule a time to chat with them, to either go through a first round interview or what we call a screen. You want to make sure that you are scheduling this as soon as possible. There are a lot of times where there could only be one or maybe a few open spots left. So if you schedule 3 weeks out from the time that I've sent you over the request, that role might be filled by the time that we hop on a call. So that's why you always want to make sure that you're providing availability sooner rather than later, or getting that scheduled sooner than waiting too long. A lot of firms do have deadlines, so you always want to make sure that you're aware of that as well, that you're getting it in by the deadline. Certain firms also do have a rolling application, so we are one of them. We pretty much keep our applications open until we've filled the roles. So this is not saying that, oh, okay, September 17th, our applications are closing, we're only interviewing who we've met. We're interviewing as applications come in and we're filling the roles as they come in. So very important to ask that question at a career fair when you're talking to the recruiter and get an idea of when that application needs to be submitted, so that way you can get that application in and schedule that interview as soon as possible. Now, before you get on with that initial screen, you want to make sure that you're doing some additional research on the company and who you're going to be speaking with. Additionally, I would look into any specific industry that you are interested in and you're going to be interviewing for. You'd always want to have more information than less information walking into that interview, because typically a lot of professionals will ask you a question in the interview to see what research you've done on the side, to see how interested you are in the position. So always do as much research as you can. For the interview, I would also suggest showing up and being on time. You have no idea kind of what it says about a candidate when I see you've joined the meeting 5 minutes early, 2 minutes early. I know that you are prepared, you found the link, you are ready to go for that interview. If you show up a little bit later, you're not sure what's going on, sometimes that can show a little bit about your time management skills. So you always want to make sure you're either early or right on time for that interview. If you are ever concerned that either the Zoom or Teams link is not going to work, test it out the night before. Make sure that it works. Make sure everything's updated on your computer so that when the interview comes around, you are good to go. When you start off the interview, you want to be prepared to introduce yourself. Typically, the first question that every recruiter asks you is, tell me a little bit about yourself. So you want to make sure that you are ready to go with your name, school, graduation, and CPA eligibility date, because that's typically the first question that we ask. Additionally, you want to be prepared to answer any behavioral-based interview questions. These pretty much are asked to determine your soft skills and how you'll perform in the role. We'll go a little bit more in depth in a little bit regarding that behavioral interview questions and those soft skills. Additionally, you want to make sure that you are prepared to speak about your past work experiences. Any of these that are listed on your resume are fair game. So you want to make sure that you're able to speak to all of your experiences and that you know your resume in and out. Additionally, you want to make sure to follow up that initial phone screen with a thank you email. This definitely makes you stand out and sets you apart from some other candidates that come in. So diving into a little bit more in depth regarding introducing yourself. Like I said, this is the question that is the first question that I ask on all of my interviews is, tell me a little bit about yourself. You want to make sure that you are including a full introduction. This could almost even be very similar to your elevator pitch that you've created for the career fair. You want to make sure that you are going into depth about your name, school year, your graduation date, and if you know it, your projected 150 credit date. Also, I always love to hear, what are you currently doing? What activities are you involved in at school? What clubs are you a part of? Are you volunteering? Are you working part-time? I really want to get to know who you are right now in this current moment. And additionally, I want to know what you're looking to do in the future so that way I can kind of tailor our conversation to you, because if you're looking more so for audit roles, I'm not going to talk to you about the tax roles. If you are looking for full-time, I'm not going to mention our internship roles, because I want to make sure that I am tailoring it to you and we are focused on what your goals are in the future. So just kind of making sure that you have that introduction prepared ahead of time. You can even memorize it if you want. If you want to go through, create a little introduction for yourself, so that way you're just ready to kind of talk it out to me when we get on the call. That's always a great idea as well. So a lot of the times throughout your interview, recruiters will ask you about your past or your present work experience. You always want to make sure when you are talking about your roles that you are mentioning the company that you worked for, your job title, and the time period that you were there. You also want to provide a high-level overview of the company's industry and what your role was at that company. I know this can be listed on your resume. However, it's just a short little description. I really want to hear the main kind of overview of what your day-to-day responsibilities were, the clients you worked with, and the industries you worked with, and sometimes even the softwares that you used on our call, because that information is too much to put on a resume, which is why typically I'll ask about that in our interview. I also want you to highlight any achievements that you've had in that role. So if there was any projects that you led, any projects that you made an impact on the organization with, you really want to highlight those to the recruiter that you're talking to. And last but not least, you really want to connect your role to the skills of the role that you were applying for, or just kind of what you believe will translate over into the role that you are looking to get. That can definitely show how your skills are transferable from your current role into the new role. Additionally, I made a note down at the bottom, because this is sometimes if you've had a bad experience with a previous employer, it's a little hard not to kind of explain out why you left a current role, if it was due to a bad manager, just bad work environment. However, I would really encourage you not to speak poorly about a former employer or coworkers. You really kind of always want to come from it with a positive outlook, and that negative outlook sometimes just does not highlight you in the best light. So I would always try to be as positive as possible. And if you really have nothing positive to say, I would just kind of go with the typical answers of, I was just looking for some different growth opportunities. If they've asked you why you've left, try to stay away from speaking about the main experience if it was really that bad, and just kind of use other responses that are a little bit either kind of moving off the topic or being a little bit more positive. So after we ask about you, to tell me about yourself, and then kind of asking you about your past positions, typically we will be asking at least one or multiple behavioral interview questions on the interview. Pretty much behavioral interviews. Has anybody heard of the behavioral interview questions before? Okay, I see some people have heard of it before. Okay. Behavioral interview questions pretty much is a technique that recruiters use that looks at your past behavior will predict your future behavior. So pretty much when we ask certain questions, we are looking for certain responses, because we are going to ask you about a time you made a mistake, how you handled that mistake, because then we want to see, okay, in the future, if you end up running into a similar mistake or just making a mistake in general, how are you going to handle that situation? So the way that you are going to answer these questions is by answering with a story, and also using specific examples from your past experiences, either at work, at school, or in your extracurriculars. Now, when I say specific, I want you to focus on a specific day or a specific time period. I don't want you to focus on the entire 5-year experience that you had at this place. Typically, that tends to make your answer a little bit more general and less meaningful. So I want you to get into a specific example for a specific date and time or time period. This will kind of provide a little bit more information to that recruiter and give them what they're looking for in that question. So some questions that are technically behavioral interview questions that you might have heard in some of the interviews that you've gone through are, how did you learn from a mistake that you made? Tell me about a time that you had to complete a task under pressure or time constraints. How did you handle it? Tell me about a time when you worked with a great team or client, and describe a time where you had to act as a leader. Describe a situation where you had to adapt to a significant change at work. So these are all questions that are looking to see how you've reacted in the past, because this is how I'm going to see how you're going to react in the future and how you're going to be a good fit for the role. So looking at this behavioral interview question, tell me about a time when you had to work in a team. What do you guys think that you should emphasize in your response? Do you think it should be A, the challenges faced by the team, B, the mistakes made by the other team members, or C, the outcome of the project and your role in achieving it? Who wants to shout out an answer for me of what they think is correct?
Anybody? Don't be shy. You guys can unmute yourselves on Zoom.
Oh, I see a C. Okay. All right, perfect. Well, if you said C, you are correct. Pretty much, I don't want to hear about the challenges by the whole team, and I don't want to hear about mistakes of other team members. I want to focus on you and how you achieved the outcome that you wanted within the project that you were working on. So that is a great response there. So talking about that question, tell me about a time where you had to work in a team. You want to answer using the STAR method. So this is a great way to help keep you on track when you are answering a behavioral interview question. So you want to start off with talking about the situation, looking at what the relevant background is for your story, the task, what were you asked to do, the action, what did you actually do and specifically do to address that task, and R, the result. What was the outcome of your action or the deliverable created? So looking back at that question that we just talked about, here's an example of how you might answer that question using the STAR method. So situation. This would be last summer during my internship at PKF OD, we were working on our AI research project with a very tight 8-week deadline. In the later half of the summer, one of our team members who was responsible for the data analysis unexpectedly went out on medical leave. This left us shorthanded with only 2 weeks left. Now going into the task. As an intern lead on the project, my tasks were to ensure that the research project stayed on track and met the deadline. I also needed to ensure that the quality of our work did not suffer. So now I know what your responsibility was in that role. Then you're going to talk about your action. I immediately organized a meeting with the team to discuss the current progress and identify areas where we could redistribute the workload. I took on part of the data analysis myself, although it was not my primary responsibility, and I redistributed the remaining data analysis work to another team member who was familiar with data analysis. I communicated regularly with our partner lead and updated him on the progress and the timeline adjustments. Now I want to hear about the results and how it actually turned out. Despite our team setback, we delivered the project on time. Our partner lead was satisfied with the results and praised our team for adaptability and my leadership under the time constraints. Using this answering method just allows you to provide the most amazing answers to these behavioral interview questions. This really allows you to succeed within that interview because it really shows me, in this whole example right here, it shows me your teamwork skills, it shows me your communication skills, and also your leadership skills, and also really a high stress situation and just dealing with it very calmly and very in control. So this is definitely a really great way to answer those questions. Now, the recruiter always has a reason for asking certain questions. This kind of, again, gives us a better idea of who you are and how you will fit in the role. So, what do you all think is the number one thing a recruiter is looking for in the candidate seeking an accounting internship? Do you think it's A, they know their debits and credits, B, they have adequate soft skills, or C, they have prior accounting internship experience? What do you think the number one thing a recruiter is looking for within an interview for an accounting internship?
Anyone want to take a guess?
You can throw it in the chat too if you don't want to unmute yourself.
Yep. I would go with B.
That would be correct. So it is going to be B. So obviously technical skills are so great to have. However, when you are looking for an internship, typically you might be coming in with no prior experience and you're looking to get that hands-on experience and learn those technical skills from the company that you're applying to. So really the main thing that us recruiters are looking for at the internship level and even at the entry level is your soft skills. Because if you've got those soft skills, we can train you on all the technical stuff. We can provide you with the sophomore training, the debits and credits, accounting training, things like that. We want to see that you've got those soft skills. So now going into soft skills, let's dive a little bit deeper into what they are. So soft skills are non-technical skills that employers are going to be looking for you to possess to succeed at their company. And the behavioral interview questions actually help gauge your soft skills, which is why we ask them in those interviews. So soft skills are included, but not limited to all of them listed on here. You want to make sure that you're keeping all of these soft skills in mind when you're answering questions in interviews, because these are what we're looking for in potential candidates. So the first one's going to be communication. We want to see that you have communication skills necessary to communicate with the team members as you'll be communicating with clients in the future. Next, we want to see your time management, that you have the organizational skills necessary to stick to the defined timelines, as we do have a lot of deadlines within the public accounting realm. Teamwork, that you'll have the ability to work well within teams and get along with others, as accounting is very collaborative, whether you're on tax or on audit. Leadership, that you're able to take initiative, as there are going to be many leadership opportunities within public accounting, especially to move up the ladder to become eventually a partner, manager, supervisor, whatever you would like to do within your own career. Next up is flexibility, that you are able to adapt to changes, whether they're small or large, as public accounting is ever changing with many different factors of new technology, new team members, and also new clients and new industries. Conflict resolution, that you're able to understand and work together with different perspectives to solve conflict and meet a common goal. And last but not least, problem solving, that you are able to identify and understand issues, ultimately creating viable solutions. So you might be wondering, all right, how do I learn soft skills? How do I expand upon these? Well, we're going to go through and We're going to go through that right now. So you want to make sure that you are always seeking feedback from everybody around you. You want to seek feedback on class projects, assignments, in your job or in your internship. This really gives you an insight on how others perceive your soft skills and help you identify areas for improvement. Additionally, you want to be proactive. You want to take on leadership roles in group projects within organizations, so maybe a sports team, a club, Greek organizations, or even at work or in your classes. This will allow the practice with conflict resolution and problem solving. Additionally, you want to make sure that you're engaging in active listening. Practice being fully present in the conversations that you're having by focusing on the speaker, avoiding interruptions, and asking questions. This builds strong relationships and improves problem solving. Additionally, you always want to be working on time management. You want to make sure that you're utilizing tools such as lists, calendars, apps to improve your organizational skills. This will increase your productivity and also show professionalism within your role. You also want to improve on your emotional intelligence. You want to reflect on your emotions and how they are affected or how they affect your relationships. Practice empathy by considering others' feelings and perspectives. High emotional intelligence helps managing your emotions and also understanding others, which is critical for leadership and collaboration and teamwork. So these are all different ways that you guys can work on your soft skills and expand them so that when you do go in for that internship or full-time opportunity, you've got those solid soft skills and they can look at you and say, amazing candidate, we can teach them everything else, but they've got these soft skills that we're really looking for. So, another question to all of you, which of the following best demonstrates effective emotional intelligence in the workplace? Is it A, offering constructive feedback to a colleague in a respectful manner? B, finishing a project quickly without seeking input from other team members? C, avoiding difficult conversations to keep the peace? Or D, ignoring a colleague's concern because you disagree with them? Which do you guys think is the most effective way to demonstrate emotional intelligence?
I think it's A.
Correct. If you said A, that is correct. It's offering constructive feedback to a colleague in a respectful manner. Everything else is really kind of more so focused on not really working through it, not working as a team, just being kind of more individualized, whereas A is really kind of using that emotional intelligence. So great answer there. So pretty much some key takeaways from today's presentation. Hopefully you learned a little bit about PKF O'Connor Davies in general, but hopefully specifically regarding interviews and soft skills. Hopefully this helps you prepare and do your research before going to those on-campus events and interviews. You want to make sure that you are being yourself when you are meeting those recruiters and sticking to the rules and the concepts that I shared today. You want to make sure that you are being the best professional version of yourself. And also, I want all of you to continue improving your soft skills as these are going to majorly contribute to your success within an organization. These skills will make you qualified for the role and also better able to handle any work situation that's thrown your way. So hopefully this presentation has helped you guys and has given you guys some inside look into what a recruiter sees on their end and what they're looking for and how you guys can expand upon your soft skills. So I wanted to thank you all so much for coming in today. If you are looking to contact us, I am the campus recruiter that oversees New Jersey and specifically oversees Fairleigh Dickinson, so I can always answer any and all questions that you have. So my direct contact information is right here on the screen, as well as if you'd like to scan our QR code, that is going to bring you right to our PKFOD link tree. Right on top, you can actually connect with myself and all of our recruiters on LinkedIn, which I do suggest that you do. It's a great way to build your network, especially here at the college level. Additionally, on there is a link to our job board, which will show you all of our open opportunities that you can apply to right on our job board. So it will have our Leaders of Tomorrow program, our Freshman Pathways program that we discussed earlier, as well as all of the open internships that we're still actively recruiting for 2025, as well as full-time positions. But are there any questions that I could answer for you regarding interviewing, soft skills, really any questions that my presentation did not cover for you guys?
Hey, you want to have any questions?
I don't have a question for the QR code. Scan it. So could you put like a link in the chat to the link tree?
A link to the chat? Yes, absolutely. Let me pull that up for you guys so I can share that with you very quickly. Might just take me a minute to grab the link, but I can absolutely do that. While I'm grabbing the link, is there any other questions that I could answer for any of you?
Anyone?
Well, if you don't want to ask the question over Zoom, you can definitely feel free to send me an email. I'm more than happy to jump on a call with any of you to give you more tips on interviews, go over your resume, to talk about some open opportunities that we have here at the firm. So please utilize me as a resource. I am always happy to answer any and all questions that you have. So let me throw this in the chat for you all. Okay, that is the link to the link tree, which will bring you to the exact same place for the QR code right on there. But I definitely do appreciate you all coming on today. Jack, thank you so much for hosting me today. I always love presenting to you guys. So I look forward to hopefully seeing you at more campus events in the future. I'll definitely be back at Fairleigh Dickinson. So definitely stop by, say hello, and reach out to me if you guys have any questions. But thank you so much for coming today and listening to my presentation.
Thank you, Kayleigh, so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Members, candidates, please stay behind. A couple announcements for next week. All righty.
So will I fall again? I'm scared of heights, yet it was me who ran away.